Hey boyos, daily check-in with John V. It is August 26th, 2025. I'm going to be doing a long one today, so brace yourselves. You know, sit back, relax, have some coffee, have a smoke, because I'm going to go over everything. This is for the people who don't know but care about what's going on with my life. If you don't want to hear about it, just stop now. Otherwise, you're in for a long listen. So anyway, I've been walking for 4 hours every day, 3 to 4 hours. Try to do 4 hours. Sometimes I only get three. Some days I take off. Occasionally, usually it works out to be 2 days every 10. Like one day every 5 days, I'll take off every 4 or 5 days. And I lost 5 pounds. My first monthly weigh-in, and my second monthly weigh-in is coming up on the 11th next month, and I'm hoping it to be again 5 pounds. I can deal with 5 pounds every month because I'm currently 225, and I want to get down to 165. I want to be a twink. I want to be really lean. I want to get back into strength training when I get closer to my goal weight. I'm not strength training now because I'm walking so much. And what I'll do my first walk at 1:30 in the afternoon, and I don't get back till about 2:45, and then I do my next walk at 4:30, next walk at 7:30, next walk at 10:30 at night. And obviously, I don't want to throw a training session in there, a weight training session. Otherwise, it's going to be walk, weight training session, walk with no rest, and I don't want to do that, right? I want to go easy on myself. I know going easy on myself is how I got to the state that I'm in, really overweight, smoking 2 packs a day, right? Going easy on myself is how I got there. But, you know, you have to ask goals of yourself that are realistic. Obviously, like, there's multimillionaires who became that way, self-made, from working 100 plus hours a week, sleeping 2 to 3 hours a day, right? And also pursuing fitness, right? I'm not one of those people, and most people are not, and that's why there's not very many millionaires, right? So everybody's got a limit of how much they can handle, right? Everybody's got their limit of how much they can handle of different things. For me, I can handle 4 hours of walking. It's a big time cut, um, but I don't mind it. It's really helping my feeling of well-being and mental awareness, and it's really cutting down on my depression because even though I don't talk about it, I still have suicidal thoughts once in a while. And I've reached the point of, suicide a couple times and couldn't go through with it because it always came down to what if it fails? And I do something with hydrogen sulfide gas, the type that's found in mines, and I had the means of mixing the two containers of substances together to make the gas. I just had to seal myself in something that was airtight, um, put the two together in a bucket, let the gas do its work, and I was thinking, well, what if it fails, and I'm left paralyzed, or with brain and nerve damage, worse brain damage than I have now, right? What if, and I don't want to be worse off and then spend the rest of my life unable to kill myself because I'm in a wheelchair paralyzed from the waist down or the neck down, and be much worse off than I am now. Right now I have full use of my limbs. I'm relatively healthy. I have no outstanding debts, right? So, might as well just live life to the fullest. And I came to the point of suicide a couple times, and I couldn't bring myself to do it, so I just eventually decided, you know what? Live your life to the fullest. Do the best you can, right? Your life may not be perfect, but do the best you can. Enjoy life. Enjoy what you can, right? You're always going to have holes that feel like they need to be filled and feel like you're lacking in some way, but you know, most people don't have a perfect life. Most people do not have a perfect life, right? And, but putting that aside, that and the walking, um, what else I'm doing? Um, I'm looking a bit better. The lighting in my room is shit. So I look kind of bad. I actually have a very deep tan on my face, but it's hardly noticeable in this lighting. It looks like I'm actually pasty and gross colored and stuff like that. When I look in the bathroom mirror, and I actually look pretty good. Like, I have a really tanned face, and my skin doesn't look too bad, but in this lighting, with this poor quality webcam, I look like kind of like crap, right? I just need a better webcam. That's not going to happen anytime soon because it serves its purpose well enough that I don't need something better. And when I do my walks in between sessions, when I'm back for an hour and 45 minutes or so, and each time I'll play Magic Arena mostly and smoke cigarettes. That's pretty much it. And I'll snack on a little bit of food. I try to keep the food at a minimum most of the day until the evening, until like 8 o'clock on. And it's tough because some days I'll get up at like 11, and some days 2 o'clock comes around and I'm like, man, I want food, and I break down and I have a bunch of garbage. But I'm still slowly losing the weight, so progress is progress, even if it's 5 pounds a month. If we can stick with 5 pounds a month, I'm happy. I'm happy, right? Because to get to 165, I don't intend on it taking a matter of just a few quick months. I intend on it taking probably a year, maybe longer, because the closer I get to my intended weight, it's probably going to get much more difficult to lose more weight, right? And yeah. Basically, what I just have to do is just diet harder gradually over time. Each passing month, just diet a little bit harder, right, to keep it at 5 pounds a month of weight loss. And but putting that aside, um, I'm waiting on housing. I have to call them on Friday because I sent in the paperwork for priority access to housing because of medical reasons. I need to be near the major hospital in Halifax because I have frequent testing. Not frequent, I have regular testing a couple times a year where they test my heart function just to make sure everything's functioning properly, because you who don't know, I had open heart surgery 4 years ago. Biggest scare of my life, right? And I made it through, and I'm actually much better off. Wasn't much complications. I had a blood clot forming after the surgery. They had to do a second open heart surgery, which I almost cried for that because I didn't want to be cut open again, but nothing I could do. But I made it through. Everything's great. I'm just on a couple medications for the rest of my life, right? And yeah, I had open heart surgery. I have frequent testing, and that's why I got priority access for housing form sent in. And I have to call in Friday to the NSPHA, Nova Scotia Provincial Housing Association, for them to do some assessments and stuff for my qualification for priority housing, right? And without that paperwork sent in for being near a medical center, it would have taken about 10 years to get into housing for a single man with no dependents. And with that paperwork, nobody can give me a timeline. Nobody seems to be able to give me a timeline. They always say it depends on how soon, current tenants move out. So I could be waiting a year, I could be waiting 3 years, I could be waiting 5 years, right? It really depends, because they find that a lot of those people, when they get put in those housing places, they tend to stay because it's affordable, right? It's fixed income, and it's a rent subsidy, and it's affordable. So a lot of low income people, they stay in those places, right? And obviously situations change, factors change. Single people with a 1 bedroom or bachelor apartment, they end up getting a girlfriend or a wife with a bunch of kids, and obviously they have to accommodate that by getting a bigger place, right? And people just move on. Most people are not like me. I'm basically in the position I'm going to be in for the rest of my life, on disability, making hardly any money, and when I get into one of these places, I'll be in there for life, and I won't be moving unless they force me to move. So that's the housing situation. I'm always trying to better my situation in different ways, Like, I'm trying to improve my health and fitness by walking so much, lose the weight, and I'm trying to get into better housing, so I'm not living with family anymore. You know, I don't want to be living with family ever again, or friends. I want to have my own place, then I can thrive, right? And also the DTC, the disability tax credit. Um, I finally got the paperwork sent in for that. The doctor signed off on it, and it's all sent in to the CRA, Canada Revenue Agency. And the timeline for that, the target completion date is the end of November, and I should get approved. If I get approved, I get a big pile of money back paid for the past 10 years for the time that I worked, that I didn't have to pay as many taxes in that I did. And also it makes me eligible for an extra $200 a month on my disability check that I get every month. So that's a big deal. If I get denied, I'm completely fucked up the ass, because I'm in debt with my credit cards. Nothing major to a lot of you guys, but about $3,000 I'm in debt. And obviously, when your income is under $1,000 a month, to climb out of a hole like that is difficult, right? And yeah, that's covered all the main things. I play Magic Arena quite a bit again. I did take a break from it. The game was getting too stressful, frustrating. I try to limit it to limited play, but I'm not going to talk about Magic much because a lot of you guys don't even know what Magic is or play Magic. So I'm not going to ramble on about it. But I had taken a break from playing Magic because it's so ungodly stressful and frustrating. And I did go back to it, but if it starts stressing me out, I go away from it, and I just try to play styles of play on the game that are not frustrating generally. So I haven't been going to the game store. I had made it a point of going to the game store regularly to play Magic and just to socialize and be around other people, right? But it got to be too expensive, because to play at one of those Magic events, it was either $30 or $50, and that's a lot of money when your income is less than $1,000 a month, right? And now with the tariffs from the U.S. for imported items from the U.S., um, one of these $30 events is like $40 now, and one of these $50 events is $65 now, and that's not affordable to me, so I had to stop going. That, and the game store owner, he changed the store credit policy, so when you use store credit to purchase something, you have to pay half of it in cash and half in store credit. And that was a bummer, because a lot of these events I play, what you win is store credit, and I often place well. And obviously, it don't matter if I place well, if I'm just getting store credit, that's useless to me. Because obviously the game store owner, when he buys things, he marks them up for about double of what he paid. So for me to use store credit and my own money to buy his product, I could literally just use the same amount of money and go online and buy the same product. Something that he has for $300, I can go online and get for $150. No problem. So anyway, and I was for a while going to arm wrestling practice, and I gave that up because I don't have transportation. It's a good, oh, 8 miles from me. Oh no, it's more than 8 miles. It's like 13 miles, and that's too far to walk. Obviously, that's like a 4-hour walk, and ain't no way in fucking hell I can do that. No way in hell. 4 hours there, 4 hours back. It's too long, and I'm just too out of shape to be competitive at arm wrestling, right? And you know, I kind of just dropped them and never gave any of them notice that I was not coming back. I just stopped going, right? So they can make any assumption they want to about why I stopped going. They probably assume I got frustrated because I wasn't very competitive, because I was out of shape, which isn't entirely true. It's just mostly the transportation. I still would have went just to fuck around and pull people's arms and, just to have fun and socialize a bit, right? But, meh. But, I plan to, once I get into housing in the city, I plan to go to different events, go to Magic events at a couple stores, providing that their store credit policy is not garbage, and hoping something will happen with the tariffs, that the tariffs just go away, but they probably won't, right? It's just ridiculous having to pay that much. So the whole going to game stores and playing Magic may not happen. I plan to get back into arm wrestling once I move to the city, get into housing, and I plan to take up some kind of combat sport like boxing or something like that, or some kind of grappling sport and some kind of striking sport like boxing and submission wrestling maybe, and go to each one like once or twice a week, right? And that would get me out there socializing. It would, you know, give me uh, it would help keep me active, more exercise, right? And it's teaching me a vital skill in life that hopefully I never have to use. Um, I'll probably end up volunteering some of my time to, soup kitchens, homeless shelters, stuff like that, just to get out there and socialize. And it looks good on a resume if my situation ever does change and I look for work again, right? Because it shows that I'm active in the community, right? I'm not just some rotter that rots at home all the time playing games and eating junk food, right? But yeah. So that's me in a nutshell. If you don't know anything about me, and I just want to sum everything up all at once about who I am, what's going on, what I talk about mostly. Pretty much when I do these daily check-in videos, all the stuff that I just covered is basically what I go over, because there's usually not much new going on in my life. Um, Typically when I go for my walks, I do 8 half-hour sessions. What I'll do, I'll walk to the coffee shop, which is roughly a half an hour, sit there, drink coffee, smoke cigarettes for 20 minutes, and then walk home. And I do that 4 times a day, so it's 8 30-minute walks, right? And each of those walks is roughly 3,000 steps. And according to Google, each one of those walks one way is 31 minutes, but it takes me a bit less than that because I walk faster than the average person. But I more so go by the number of steps than the time, because I still consider it 30 minutes of average walking speed. I know some people just truck it and they could do that probably in 20 minutes, that walk. I think I do it in like 25, 26 minutes. You know, I've thought about increasing the length of the walks just a little bit, add like an extra few minutes on, but not asking too much of myself yet. Not yet. As you can see in the back, I got my weight equipment. Haven't used it in a while. Been a few months. Not a few months. It's been 2 months. Yeah, it's been about 2 months since I used it. I'm quite out of shape. I'm losing a bit of muscle, but I didn't have a lot to begin with, right? No lifts really to brag about. The only time I was really lifting a lot of weight was when I did the starting strength program and bloat maxed up to 265. That's how I got to 265. That's how I got so overweight. I bloat maxed and was lifting weights, and I had dreams of being huge and jacked. Well, I got huge, but not jacked. Right? I got big and fat. So now I have to undo that damage by walking so much and losing the fucking weight. But yeah, it ain't for everybody. Like, if my life was going to revolve around lifting weights, then yeah, I'd probably bloat max again, and just lift weights and whatever. But the problem with that is if you take any time off from it, like a couple months, you start losing muscle mass really quickly and gaining body fat. It doesn't transform into body fat, but essentially your body composition turns to shit very quickly when you stop lifting weights when you're that size. And even though my body composition wasn't great at my peak of 265, it got much worse when I stopped lifting weights. Right. And you could say, well, why didn't you just keep lifting weights? It's incredibly difficult. always asking of yourself to lift 5 more pounds than what you lifted the session before, always going from a 150 pound squat to almost a 400 pound squat in 4 months, right? And knowing that the next session you had to do even more weight than that, constantly doing more weight. It's just mentally and physically fatiguing, and I couldn't handle it. Like when I get down to my goal weight of 165 and start lifting weights again, it's not going to be like that at all. I'm going to go really easy on myself, and it's going to be more of a leisure activity or a hobby than, a lifestyle. I'll eat my regular 3 meals a day of high protein, nutritious food, and lift weights for an hour every day, like I was doing at 265. But the difference is the intensity. I'm not going to be pushing myself balls to the wall every session. I'm not going to be asking more and more and more of myself every session. It's going to be basically to a certain hit a certain goal and how much weight I'm lifting on each lift, and essentially just maintain that strength and only ask myself to improve on that very slowly, right? And not train squat 3 times a week, train squat once a week. Because obviously, if you're not bloat maxing, eating a ton of calories, and you try to squat 3 times a week, you're going to overtrain your ass really fucking quick. Strength coaches even say that. You try to do this program, squatting 3 times a week, and not eating enough, you're going to overtrain your ass in a hurry. And it's true. Especially when you're asking of yourself to squat 5 extra pounds every workout, right? That's that's a net total of like adding 60 pounds to your squat every month, right? Or more. Because in the beginning, you, you're supposed to add 15 to 20 pounds to your squat each session, and then reduce it to 10 to 15, then 5 to 10, then 5. And after a very long time, you reduce it even more to like 2.5 pounds, 1 pound. But I'm not going to ramble about strength training, right? It's just going to be a hobby. When I get back into it, it's not going to be something my life revolves around. All right. But I'm not sure what else to talk about. This video is mostly to fill any of you guys in on my life and what I ramble about, what's going on in my life, and I'm not sure what else to say. I live with my sister, and yeah, hopefully that changes. But yeah, we've rambled long enough. I'll let you boys go, and I'll see you guys online.